evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I am Tamir Nimsat and we at Art Television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. President stresses the need for global solidarity to tackle challenges of the future at the UN General Assembly. Sri Lanka will host Asia Pacific Environmental Forum next month, Subject Minister says. Tourism to benefit from QR-based transaction mechanism, Indian High Commissioner says. News in detail. Addressing the UN General Assembly, President Wickremesinghe highlighted the need for global solidarity in restructuring the international financial architecture, which will lead to sustainable development and reverse of climate change.
Mr. President, national efforts alone will not suffice to ensure the success of the SDGs and reverse climate change. The need for global solidarity to restructure international financial architecture is paramount. This is articulated loud and clear in multiple global fora, including in G20 and the BRICS. The Secretary General's SDG stimulus highlights the interconnections between the achievements of the SDGs combating climate change and the concrete interventions required by creditors, sovereign and private, as well as by IFS, including to mitigate the debt crisis. It is estimated that the 2008 financial crisis cost the US economy $4 trillion. Recent studies in US have stated that the impact of the pandemic on the US economy from 2020 to 2023 would reach $14 trillion. These numbers would more than double if the rest of the global economy is added. We have not faced an economic crisis of this magnitude any time before in our modern history. The cost of World War II in today's US dollars would amount only to $4 trillion, and the Marshall Plan would be $150 billion. This is the magnitude of the challenge before us.
Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, says that MOUs on QR-based UPI system have already been signed between the relevant parties to ease transactions in tourism field. Speaking at the 77th Independence Anniversary celebrations organized by the India-Sri Lanka Society in Colombo, Indian High Commissioner also highlighted that making transactions with Indian rupees in Sri Lanka will also be a reality soon.
I am happy to mention that in the field of financial technology, digital technology, we have come a long way. Our respective agencies have signed the Memorandum of Understanding, and we hope to see the rollout of QR-based UPI systems, which will ease the transactions by incoming Indian tourists and will, of course, attract even more tourists from India to Sri Lanka. Of course, you are aware that the Indian rupee has been made the currency for trade transactions, and I am happy to note that here again, there is progress, and of course, we can do more. And many of you may have seen the news which has been put out on Twitter today that in the realm of trade, the two countries have started the discussions between the new trade negotiators of both the countries, currently in the virtual mode. It happened on the 19th September, and now we will have soon their physical meeting on the ETCA, the Economic and Technological Cooperation Agreement. We very much hope and we would like to request the government of Sri Lanka that we reach a quick culmination of these discussions and negotiations so that we can our people can start reaping the benefits.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, participating as the chief guest at the 77th Independence Anniversary celebrations organized by the India-Sri Lanka Society in Colombo, said India, while advancing as an economic power, is playing a crucial role in promoting developmental and humanitarian goals around the world.
Our friendly neighbor, India has extended enormous support to us in the economic field, financial and the monetary fields, development efforts and emergency aid that Sri Lanka needed when it faced this most severe crisis. And today, India has emerged in this long journey as a giant economy among the strongest economies the world has built. India's most recently has been growing at an exponential rate. India's progress has been following the democratic path. India's progress has been over continuous dedication and the journey for 76 years and India has achieved. I would like to say we in Sri Lanka is inspired that India has not only regained its rightful place on the world stage, but it has also enhanced its standing in the international order. India plays a crucial role in promoting development and humanitarian ground goals around the world in many continents.
The National Agrarian Unity of Sri Lanka, in collaboration with agriculture specialists and farmers, stressed the need to promote good agriculture practices in Sri Lanka. The group of farmers and academics highlighted this at a press conference held in Colombo recently.
The group of farmers and academics hopes to create a national discussion on establishing a roadmap for the betterment of the agricultural sector of Sri Lanka. The community stresses that the chemical ban by the previous government was the right move, but it lacked meticulous planning, resulting in an utter failure. The group said that the agriculture sector of the country is in dire condition due to the importation of unregulated and highly toxic fertilizers. They pointed out that as a result of the use of inorganic fertilizer, the Sri Lankan population as a whole have been forced to consume highly toxic food products.
මෙහෙම කතාවක් ගොඩනගෙන්න අපි හේතුව ගත්තාම මේ පහුගිය දවස්වල ලෝක සෞඛ්‍ය සංවිධානයේ නිර්ණායකයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරා ආසියාවේ වැඩියෙන්ම වසවිස කන රට ලංකාව. වැඩිපුරම බෝ වෙන වසංගත ලෙඩ රෝග වලින් ළමා ජනගහණයෙන් පෙළෙන ලෝකයේ ප්‍රතිශතයක් විදියට ගත්තාම ශ්‍රී ලංකාව. වැඩිහිටි පරපුරක් විදිහට බෝන වෙන වසංගත ලෙඩ රෝග වල ගොදුරක් වෙලා වකුගඩු නැතුව අක්මා දිය වෙලා තමන්ගේ ජීවිත කාලයේ සන්ධ්‍යා සමය ඇඳට රෝහලට ය아가න්න බැරි වැඩිම මිනිස් ජනගහනයක් ඉන්නේ වැඩිහිටි ජනගහනයක් ඉන්නේ ජේෂ්ඨ පුරවැසියෝ ඉන්නේ අපේ රටේ. බරපතල ඛේදවාචකයක්.
Stay tuned, we will return after this short commercial break. Speaking at the event, Senior Professor Saman Senevira said that Sri Lanka has all the natural resources, including the biodiversity, and that soil to practice better agriculture practices.
මේ රටේ කෘෂිකර්ම මාධ්‍යයට දැනට අපේ දායක වෙන්නේ අපේ දල ජාතික නිෂ්පාදනයේ 108යි. මේක අවුරුදු 3ක් ඇතුළත මේක ඩබල් කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේක ඩබල් කරන්න ලොකු රොකට් සයන්ස් ඕනේ නැහැ. එතන ඉඳන් තමයි අපි කතා කරන්නේ දිගටම. මම කියන්නේ ඒකේ ලොකු කර්තව්‍යයක් තියෙනවා මේ දැන් අපි කතා කරන කාබනික පොහොර කියන එක. ඒක කොහොමද වෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක ගැන මම කතා කරනවා. වෙන ගොඩක් දුරපාතයක් නැහැ. අනිත් එක තමයි මිස් කරන්න බැරි අපේ රට කියන්නේ මහා බ්ලෙස් වෙච්ච රටක්. මම ගොඩාක් ට්‍රැවල් කරලා තියෙනවා. ලෝකේ හැමතැනම වගේ වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා. කෘෂිකර්මාන්තය හා සම්බන්ධ වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපේ රටේ තියෙන ස්වභාවික සම්පත්තිකම ඒට හා සමාන කොහොමද මම දැකලා නැහැ. සුමාදෙකට කලින් මම ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මෙල්බර්න් ඉඳන් මම එළවුවා බ්‍රිස්බේන් එක කිලෝමීටර් 2500ක් විතර. ඔක්කොම වෙනස දැක්කේ මම සෙන්ටිග්‍රේඩ් අංශක දෙකක වෙනස් වීම විතරයි මම දැක්කේ. අපේ ලංකාවේ මම පොළොන්නරුවේ ඉඳන් ඇවිල්ලා නුවරඑළියට ගියා. මම දැක්කා මේ රටේ තියෙන මයික්‍රෝ ක්ලයිමේට් පැචස් කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ කාර්බන පද්ධති මම ඉගෙන 50ක විතර දකින්න ඇති. බයෝඩයිවර්සිටි කියන්නේ මේකේ දකින්න ඇති මම හිතන්නේ ස්පොට් එක 50ක්වත් දකින්න ඇති ඒත් එක හදන. හැම ගස් තුනකටම අලුත් ගහක් තියෙනවා. මේ කොහෙවත් නැහැ.
The 5th Asia-Pacific Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities, the largest regional environmental event in the Asia-Pacific region, will convene in Colombo from October 3rd to October 6th. Minister of Environment Nazir Ahmed made this announcement at a press briefing held at the Presidential Media Center on Monday. This forum is jointly organized by the Ministry of Environment and the United Nations Environment Programme.
The minister said that this event will witness the participation of 41 member countries of UNEP Asia Pacific, and over 25 countries and 16 ministers have already confirmed their attendance. Organisers expect more than 300 foreign delegates and 100 professionals to engage in discussions alongside stakeholders from Sri Lanka. The primary objective of this forum is to provide inputs for the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, which is scheduled for next year in Kenya. Minister Ahmed also said that the opening of the forum will be officiated by the President and the chairmanship will be handed over to Sri Lanka during the event. The minister revealed that Sri Lanka also intends to propose a climate justice forum to address the debt burden faced by climate-vulnerable developing countries. The forum comes as part of the efforts to address climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution, focusing on sustainable multilateral actions. It will provide a platform for governments, intergovernmental organizations and stakeholders to discuss environmental issues in Asia.
The launch event for the investigative book titled The Right Tie, which is authored by the Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manushana Nayakkara, took place in Colombo last Sunday. President Ranil Wickremesinghe presided over the ceremony with Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena in attendance. During the event, Minister Manushana Nayakkara presented the inaugural copy of his book, The Right Tie, to President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The book represents the culmination of a 23-year journalistic quest initiated by Minister Nayakkara. This gives an opportunity to read the history of the labour movement in Sri Lanka with a right-wing analysis in one book. The book also presents a vision of the entire labour movement and the future labour market. This book serves as an effort to bring out the reality of the hidden events in the history of labour. Notably, all proceeds from the book sales will be dedicated to the welfare of the Kafir community residing in the Sirambiyadi area and the children of workers in Sri Lanka. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who addressed the ceremony, said that the Sri Lankan labour movement should also be modernised along with the global labour movement. Stay tuned, we will return after the short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Speaking at the event, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manushana Nayakkara underscored their commitment to equip Sri Lankan labour with the skills to compete in the global market.
මේ පොත ලියන්න හේතුව ගැනත් වචනයක් කතා කරන්න ඕනි. මම මේ පොත දොරට වඩින්නේ පොතක්ම විතරක් නෙවෙයි. අවුරුදු 23ක ගවේෂණයක් මේ එළි දකින්නේ. ආරමුගම් තොණ්ඩමන් අමාත්‍යවරයාගේ මාධ්‍ය ලේකම්වරයා විදියට කටයුතු කරද්දී සුන්දර කඳුකරේ මීදුමට යටින් ගිනිගන්න බතුකම්කරුවගේ ජීවිතය මම දැක්කා. මේ පොතේ බීජය පැලවෙන්නේ එතනින්. විගමනිකයා ශ්‍රමිකයෙක් වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක අධ්‍යයනය කරන්න මට හම්බ වුණා. ශ්‍රී ලාංකික ශ්‍රමිකයා නූතන වැඩලෝකයට ගැලපීමේ අභියෝගය හඳුනාගත්තේ එතනදී. දේශීය ශ්‍රමිකයා ඉක්මවලා ගිහිල්ලා විගමනික ශ්‍රමිකයා සම්බන්ධයෙන් වන අධ්‍යයනයක් මට එතනදී දොර විවෘත වුණා. දියුණු ශ්‍රමිකයන් බිහි කිරීමේ ප්‍රවේශය අපි අරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒක අපි කරන්නේ අනාගතවාදීව. මෙතෙක් කල කම්කරු ව්‍යාපාරයට කරන්න බැරි වුණු රැකියා කිරීමේ හැකියාව, ඒ කියන්නේ එම්ප්ලොයබිලිටි එක හදන්න තමයි අපි මේ වෙලාවේ කටයුතු කරන්නේ. ලෝකයට ගැලපෙන ශ්‍රමිකයෙක් නිර්මාණය කරන්න මුලපුරන අවස්ථාවක් තමයි මේක. ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ දැක්ම 2048 දියුණු සංවර්ධිත රටක් හදන එක. ඒකට අවශ්‍ය ශ්‍රමිකයා හැදීම වගකීම අපි බාරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒකේ පදනම තමයි අපි මේ නිර්මාණය කරමින් ඉන්නේ.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya announced that over the past year, inflation in Sri Lanka has significantly decreased by 62.1% to just 4.6%. State Minister Siambalapitiya made this announcement during a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre on the 21st of September.
The State Minister stated that over the past year, the government successfully increased the country's foreign reserves from $1.8 billion to $3.8 billion. The State Minister said that the interest rate for deposits, previously at 14% in 2022, has been lowered to 11%. He also said that the loan interest rate, previously at 15.5%, has been reduced to 12% this year. He pointed out that the primary account deficit, which was at minus 247 billion rupees, has turned into a surplus of 27 billion rupees. The State Minister also said that the tourist arrivals have surged to 904,318 during the first 2 quarters of this year. Ranjit Siambalapiti also said that the tourism earnings have increased by 56.7% this year, with a total earning of over $1.3 billion US. The State Minister further revealed that foreign workers' remittance has increased to over $3.8 billion compared to $2.2 billion the previous year. The State Minister further mentioned that import restrictions have been lifted for 1,100 items and the ban applies for only 279 items as of now.
Minister of Industries Dr. Ramesh Patirana said that historically many governments have neglected investing in the growth of the country's industrial sector in favour of providing welfare. The minister said this delivering a speech at the inauguration of 2 new labs under the Industrial Technology Institute of Sri Lanka recently.
Unfortunately, that COVID pandemic was followed by economic recession and also other social calamity, political upheaval, and also change of governments, and all that happened in Sri Lanka. I think 1 year down the line, having experienced all that, we are gradually coming back to normalcy. But unfortunately, our times are not that great because of the fact that the world now goes through economic recession. The SME sector contributes nearly 52% to the industrial sector development. Our services sector is the largest one, where we generate about 52% of GDP, whereas our plantation sector and the agriculture sector still lags behind with 8% contribution to the economy. But on futuristic basis, we think yes, services sector can make people richer. Our tourism sector is coming back to normalcy. We recorded more than 1 million tourist arrivals this year so far. We might go up to about 1.8 million tourist arrivals, which is one of the highest in the recent history. This tourism industry, the services sector can make people richer. But I firmly believe for the country to be a richer one, we need to strengthen the industrial sector. So we have to broad base government, government-wise and also otherwise, we have to spend little more for the capital expenditure for the industrial sector development. Unfortunately, it has not happened so far in this country. Since we gained independence for last 75 years, we have spent a substantial amount of money for the free education, free health development of the country, which are considered as some of the best areas in the world.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.